offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again another day, committed to being your consumer advocate. It's all about helping you understand your buying decisions here in Tampa Bay and making you just a bit more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We want to help you win in any marketplace.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Save our hotline in your phone. At some point, you may need it. 813-750-0550. Give us a call or a text on the hotline at 813-750-0550.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
And bookmark the website, consumerqb.com. You can see links there to all of our contact information, previous shows, and all of our expert contributors here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Giving a big shout out to Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning, the official cleaning partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning, COVID-19 certified for infection prevention and control. Follow her on Facebook. Support our local economy by supporting our local friend of the program, Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning. They offer $15 off to all of our radio and TV show family out there. So we greatly appreciate all that are tuning in and reaching out to the hotline. We've had an uptick in calls lately. People are reaching out, wanting to know more about their real estate, their credit, finance, estate and tax planning, self-defense, so many ways that we help you here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we got our friend Thomas King back in studio, Florida Firearms Academy. Welcome back, Thomas.
Thanks, Brandon. Beautiful day here in a country that I love, so it's always good to be in your studio.
That's right. Home of the free, home of the brave, land of the brave. And you've got an interesting story that you're going to share with us here as well. The Florida Firearms Academy, if you don't know, they do a lot of classes. They're teaching, they're educating. They they sell guns, they sell firearms, ammo, of course, equipment. 13317 West Hillsborough Avenue, and longtime friend of the program is Thomas King. Coming up in the show, we've got Larry Harbolt as well. He's a real estate educator. He's an author, podcaster, and a wealth of information around real estate. I thought I might check in with him about the market, what's happening out there, what is he seeing on the investor side of the real estate market as well. And we have our feel-good story of the day. Louisiana nurses stay behind during Hurricane Laura to care for 19 babies. Find out about these brave nurses that stayed behind taking care of these babies when the power went out. Great story in our feel-good story of the day on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Let me tell you about a hot listing that we've got on Bay Esplanade in Clearwater. This is 1010 Bay Esplanade in Clearwater. This is just listed, brand new to the market property on Clearwater Beach. It's a great investment opportunity, potentially for a rental or, of course, a primary residence. Live on the beach, live, work, and play on the beach where you've got, you're surrounded by celebrities. Great opportunity. Walk to the beach. 1010 Bay Esplanade. And I tell you, when I was taking the pictures for this property, you go up to the third-story lookout. You got one of those big, tall lookout towers, like a tower basically attached to the building, and you're overlooking the Gulf of Mexico. Just a beautiful place to live, work, and play right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. All right, Thomas King back in the house. Welcome back in, man.
Thank you, sir. I just want to give you guys a couple good stories today because, there's so much crazy stuff going on in the world today. It seems like no matter what side you're on, the word on the street is if you vote for Biden, you're a communist, and if you vote for Trump, you're a Nazi today. And you know what? That's just simply not true.
Exactly.
On either side. So you know what? Everyone just needs to come together, eat a Snickers bar, calm down, and get back into the love of this country, and that's what we need to do. So one quick thing is, though, I want to give you a heads up. So if you're parking your car with the valet, or if you're going to nightclubs or beautiful 5-star restaurants or whatever it may be, there are these people out there. They're called spotters. Now, it's growing really, really big here in the United States. Spotters what get paid for. They know and can recognize, that is a real Rolex watch that you just got out of your car with, and that's worth probably $25,000. So what they do is they see that you have your garage door opener there. They pop it off, take a picture of your code. Now they can get in your garage easy enough. Also, you leave your registration in your car. You have your address right there. So now they know where you live. Or if they usually hit you right outside the restaurant or the club or wherever it may be, it's not the spotter that does it. They give the information. They get paid for it. And people at the door, at clubs or whatever, they are trained to see, that is a $40,000 real diamond ring. They get paid for the information for people to hit get you. So please watch out for that. If you're valet parking your car, if you're going to a beautiful restaurant, turn your ring around, make sure you're not showing off your watch or whatever it may be that's going to get you and yourself in trouble. Believe it or not, you have to do that these days.
Yeah.
Because in some countries, and I've heard this happen before, in this other country, this story was this guy was eating at an outside restaurant. Two guys on a moped went right by, grabbed his hand, whacked it off with a machete, the whole hand, and took his watch. So,
Wow.
spotters, they're out there.
Yeah.
It is almost impossible to catch these guys. The only way to catch these guys is if the guy that breaks into your house, and 9 times out of 10, they won't get caught. If they do get caught, they give up the information of the spotter to get a lighter sentence. So that's the only way these guys are going to get spot. How are you going to pick it out,
Wow, there's so many scams, man. There's so many scams and things to look out for. You see some of these videos on YouTube and Facebook, people ripping purses off the old lady. She knocks her head open. Who knows, may have died in that video. I didn't see that. I saw the jammers. They're using jammers to jam your cell phone. They know that your alarm system has that cell phone backup, so they jam that cell phone so they can break in your house. There's a lot of schemes.
Most ladies, when they carry a firearm, I do a lot of different ladies' classes, so they carry their firearm in their purse. And I don't know if you know this, but if you ever looked inside of a woman's purse, it's like impossible to find your keys in there.
Yeah.
So, if a bad guy comes, how are you going to find your firearm? And also, when you have your firearm in your purse, that's the first thing they're going for. There's two kinds of bad guys. One that wants what you have and what you own, and the other one wants you or do something bad with you.
Yep.
So 9 times out of 10, they're going to grab your purse, and you're going to have to fight for that purse. So
yeah.
Make sure you keep your firearm on you when you are carrying a concealed weapon permit, and that way you can actually access it very comfortably and easily.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking with Thomas King here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, Florida Firearms Academy. And Thomas is a consumer advocate in his own right. I mean, think about what he just told us, the different schemes from spotters. And, you see, I'm sure they're taking a bunch of change out of your center console when these,
right.
these valets are parking you. And, you always wonder, like, what might be missing that I didn't even really notice. But, yeah, so the spotters, that's a crazy scheme there. You got to really understand how to be safe. The best way to carry is just right on your body, right against your body. That way it's there. It's going to be harder to separate you from your weapon. So we're talking with Florida Firearms Academy. So what's the best weapon to carry? What's the best way to conceal it and to be safe?
Well, the best weapon to carry is the one that you can actually shoot comfortably and safely, and most of all, accurately. So I have people come to the range constantly all the time, and they're shooting, and they're constantly missing their target. And this is sometimes at 7 yards to 10 yards out there. So it perfectly shows that you've never taken any kind of firearm training or classes. Once you do, it will help you out tremendously.
Right.
That is just the basics. We do 40 different types of classes to teach you to become an expert shooter, a competition shooter, or a home defense person. So a lot of ladies, they come out and they shoot and they say, wow, I did amazing. And then they go out and they practice and they said, oh, I did horrible, because now they're borrowing their boyfriend or husband's 9mm, 40, 45 caliber, and they're just not equipped to shoot a firearm of that caliber. So with time, maybe they can be able to handle that recoil and handle that caliber. However, most people don't look at a 22 caliber pistol as a home defense weapon or a carry weapon. Well, the 22 caliber has killed more people in the world than any other caliber in the world.
Really?
It's all about shot placement. I guarantee you this. You shoot a bullet going 1,100 feet per second, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
And if you hit it in the right spot, shot placement, it'll be the end of the day for you. It doesn't matter if it's a 22 or a 45. You can get shot 8 times with the 45, and if it's not in the right spot, then you can still live. You can get shot with a 22 caliber once, and that's the end of the game for you in home defense.
Wow.
So it's shooting what you can handle. And handling is what I'm talking about. When you're shooting at a target quickly and accurately, that's the firearm you can handle. I'm not going to judge you. And here's the other kicker on this. If you pull out a gun and someone's trying to kill you, you pull out your firearm, they're not going to stop and go, wait a minute, is that a 22 caliber? And keep charging it? No, they're going to keep running. A 22 caliber is very loud, so they're not going to know the difference. Maybe if you're a advocate shooter all the time, you're going to know, oh, that was a 22, but I still don't want to get shot with a 22 because that could be the end of me.
Yeah. So you got to be careful. That's the idea right now. You're seeing it happening with these protesters from one side, the other protesters from the other side, or the supporters of Trump or whoever. You saw the one that got shot right in the middle of the street the other day.
I saw that, the Trump supporter, and then you know what they said, they were he was a Nazi. I don't know if the guy, if he's a Trump supporter, he's a Nazi. I don't know how you prove that, but they chanted and we're happy that he was dead and they took out the trash. So what I'm really worried about is this, that could have been the Revolutionary War. That's starting a war right there. And people are going to get really, really mad about this. And they're going to come after people. And I don't want that. The people don't want a war. No one should want a war. If they've been in war, they don't want to be in a war.
Exactly.
But you know what? There's only so far you can push people. So just being, I don't want anyone to call me racist. I'm not a racist. I'm not a Nazi. I don't support KKK. I'm not your enemy. We are all in this together, believe it or not, in this country. We all have to live in peace and live together. Just because someone supports one presidency over the other one, it's all because the mainstream media. And you know what? We've talked about this and how they twist everything around. If you listen to CNN, you're going to think the president is the most racist, craziest person that hates America. And if you listen to the other channel, Fox, it's because, CNN, they're run by Democrats, funded by Democrats, and they're going to say everything is great about Democrats. Fox News, they're going to say everything is great about Trump. He's the best guy in the world. So you have to listen to both. And you have to make the decision, because you cannot debate that. You cannot debate an argument if you don't know both sides of the story.
Right.
And I don't want to debate a story, but now people have lost that good conversation, that debating. As soon as you say, I think I think Obama did this was great, and someone say, oh, you're a communist. I think Trump, what he did for the economy is amazing. Oh my God, you're a Nazi.
Yeah, exactly.
If you call me that, I don't want to even continue that conversation with you anymore. There's no reasoning with, there's no bargaining with. I can't actually have a good conversation with you. If there's a problem at my business, we all sit together in a room and we figure out how to make it right. Right? We try to resolve it, just like the government's supposed to do. And they used to do that back in the day. Nowadays, if there's a problem with anyone out there, it's so hard to just sit there and just have a good conversation. What can we do to make this better? What can we do to make this right?
It's a polarized conversation. It's name calling. It's ripping up the paperwork behind the president's face. When he's doing his speech. I mean, it's just blatant, and I just feel like the American people are tired of it too. That's the sad part, is that we lose. The politicians win, and it's a frustrating cycle that's happening. So hopefully,
you have this media right now. They don't want to show a lot of the stuff going on because it doesn't fit their narrative. It doesn't fit their political agenda as well. Whereas this week alone, this past weekend, 55 people were shot in Chicago, including 2 cops and children. Where is everyone else outlash for that? Where is Black Lives Matter for that? Where is everyone coming up, government coming up saying, hey, this has to stop. We need to put an end to this. Last week before that, 65 people were shot. That's people's lives. Kids in strollers were shot. I mean, it's just
I wonder
horrible.
What the year to date is in Chicago. Just for example, the year-to-date number of people killed, and out of those, how many is black versus? It's like, let's look at those numbers. Let's study the stats and see. But anyways, let's take a break here. When we come back, Thomas, tease the story you're going to tell. You said you got an interesting story about your father.
Very interesting story about a life and death that we actually prevailed, and this is a real true story, and it's about my father.
Very good. Okay, Thomas King, Florida Firearms Academy here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Stay with us. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after this short message. Stay with us.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Johnny, I need about 15 seconds. Stand by. Okay, Johnny, here we go. Stand by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm also a top 1% ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay. My wife Lindsay and I own and operate the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. A couple of hot listings here. We got 8001 US Highway 301 in Riverview. This is a great opportunity. It's a commercial building. It's a restaurant on a corner lot with a red light with 50,000 vehicles going by daily. Plus, there's a second building that can be rented or utilized in whatever manner you see fit as the owner. 8001 US Highway 301 in Riverview. Great buying opportunity, especially for that business owner that wants to invest in the asset column of their business instead of paying rent. Great opportunity here in Tampa Bay. Also, 6128 Oak Ridge Avenue. This is in Newport Richey. It's on the river. It's a waterfront beauty. 4,100 plus square feet with bay access. Bring your boat and enjoy this beautiful, large, executive-style pool home on almost an acre of land. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And a big shout out to our friends at the Golf Cart Depot, aka Discovery Golf Cart. They are offering delivery for a test drive. So if you're just thinking about buying, you haven't committed to buying yet, you say, hey, I just want to test drive a golf cart. They're going to load it up and bring it to your home, your office, meet you at the park, wherever you want to test drive this golf cart from the Golf Cart Depot, and let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. They've got Cushman, Easy Go, Star EV, the electric vehicles. Great opportunities right here in Tampa Bay. Support our show partner, Golf Cart Depot. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you so you can take them up on those special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, let's jump back into it. So we got Thomas King here in studio. Thomas is the owner of Florida Firearms Academy and an American patriot here in Tampa Bay. Tell us about this interesting story you've got.
Well, first I'd like to thank all the first responders and everyone out there that actually did everything for the hurricane and the officials. I mean, an amazing job what they did. And that's when Americans come together in a disaster. And I love to see that right now with the country and heal itself as well. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about, this is one of those stories, like if I tell you it sounds like a Bigfoot story, you're like, oh yeah, whatever. Well, that's what I believed too when I first came across this with my father. So let me just give you a little intro to my father. So he was in the Army. He actually started his own business, successful business. He would live with the monks for like 30 days to fast with them. He was one of these guys that just traveled the world. He would live with the Indians. He would go there to learn how they make bows, how they hunted, how they made teepees. I mean, he did this for years. He'd go to Alaska every year to learn how to pan for gold, to hunt, to go out there and live off the land and just love life. So, I mean, he traveled the world 10 times over. He's flown planes. He's done everything so amazing. I'm really jealous about it because it just sounds so cool to do that kind of stuff. So anyways, we went to the VA hospital because my dad was very, very ill, couldn't even walk. So they told him, you know what, you have maybe 1 day to a week to live. We did x-rays on him, completely head to toe cancer, every bone in his body. So it was, devastating to me. And I didn't know what to do. I was shocked. So we went and got a second opinion. So yeah, every bone, you are about to go. So make your plans now, prep it up. So I asked my dad, what would you like to do? This is your final hoorah moment. Let's just, have a little bit of fun, man. You've done everything in the world, basically. So he says, I want you to take me to Tijuana. And I'm like, Tijuana? That's not a lot of fun, first of all, that I know. I mean, maybe it is if, you're young and you can have a lot of fun out there. So I asked why, and he said, well, there's a place out there I want to go to. And I'm like, for what? He said, no, it's just they cure cancer and all. I'm like, Dad, look, you have a day, 2 day, who knows? So anyways, he talks me into it. He said, this is what I want to do. So he tells me 20 years ago he had cancer in the throat and he went there and they cured it. So I said, okay, if this is, what you want to do. So we fly out there. We meet we have to be at the border there, and then they come and get you to cross the border. Well, this other guy was there that wanted to ride with us because one of his mother was in there. They only take 10 people at a time, patients at a time. So we said, okay, let's split the fare. So I'm asking this guy, I'm, very skeptical. I'm like, this is $5,000 and you have to pay in cash. And I'm like, well, it's a 2-week thing. So he's telling me he had cancer. He went there and they cured it. So his mom had a very serious illness. So he kept telling her to go. And she said no. So he finally paid for it. She went, and I'm like, okay, this is a setup. He's supposed to come along with the ride, and it's like a candid camera thing. This is all part of the act. So we get there, these big gates open up because you're in Tijuana. They have to keep it very secure. And his mom runs out and she's hugging him. He's like crying and
wow.
amazed. And I'm like, I wanted to ask her, hey, what did you have? Why are you healed? And they were crying. They just took their bags and got in a car and they just took off. So I was like, So I went in there and I met the other 10 patients or 9 patients that were in there. Some of them were doctors and some of them been there, for 1 week already. So they're about ready to bring in another couple patients, and my dad being one of them. Well, my dad couldn't walk. He's in a wheelchair, and this is what they do. It's a health kind of thing. They first of all said you have to have an x-rays of the body. So, oh, yeah, we brought them. He goes, no, it can't be American. We want to know you're not scamming us. You have to go next door and get all these x-rays or whatever. So I said, well, how much is that? They said, because they said you have to pay in cash. So I'm like, oh, Lord, how much is that? So they said, just go over there, get it done. So I went over and I asked them. They said, oh, yeah, it's like $70. I'm going, what? Yeah, here you go. Bam,
wow.
bam, bam. Paid the $70. Got it all. They said, yep, you have cancer. It's really bad and you don't look really well. They said, if you have fillings or any kind of metal in your mouth, you immediately have to take it out or they won't even touch you.
Wow.
Because that stops the process of healing or whatever and blah, blah, blah. So I didn't really know much about it. So we did whatever we had to do. And it was actually so dirt cheap. I mean, amazingly cheap. So anyways, by the third day, you cannot drink American water. It's kind of funny coming from Mexico. You can't drink our water. You can't bathe in our water. You can't cook in our water. You can't use any kind of chemicals. And we were talking about this, about toothpaste, about any kind of drying stuff, any cleaning product, nothing. You can't have any chemicals at all in you at all. What they eat is all organic juices, and it's carrot juice. It's all 13 juices he'd have to take a day. He would do coffee enemas. I've never even heard of anything like this.
I've heard of that.
You've heard of that? So this was like a surprise to me. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's the craziest thing. So anyways, by the third day, my dad is out swimming in this pool that they had with no chlorine. It's a special pool that has no chemicals in it and blah. I'm like, wow, man, my dad's looking really good. And you have to eat just this organic meal every day. B12, vitamin B12. They don't give you any kind of medications or anything like that. Dr. Gershon was one of the guys that actually, this is his clinic. Now, I'm not trying to sell you. I'm not trying to tell you to go there. I'm just telling you what I saw and what I actually went through. So Dr. Gershon's daughter was there. Dr. Gershon was actually murdered. They said, this is their story, that the government was trying to kill him because he wrote this book on how to cure cancer, and they did not want this book to be out there.
Wow.
So on the third try, they actually poisoned and killed him. They said it was the Nobel Peace Prize for writing this book on how to cure it. His daughter, when she was very young, had MS. This cured her as well. I actually got to meet her. She was like 98 years old there and doing amazing. She told us a lot of cool stories, things that I couldn't really comprehend because I didn't know much about any of this. I thought it was a complete scam. So at the end of it, I've actually kept in touch with all these patients that were there.
Wow.
And 80% of them were 100% cured. And one of them died, continuing to smoke and drink alcohol. And, they said, you just can't do that. You have to continue this diet for, I believe they said 2 to 3 years. You have to completely replenish every cell in your body. And the coffee enemas, for everyone out there that doesn't know what it did, it says it shocks the liver. Did you hear about this? It shocks the liver, and that's what purifies, what the cancer all has to go through.
There's a lot behind that. Well, let's hang on till the next segment, finish the story, and then we also have Larry Harbolt coming up. So Thomas King, Larry Harbolt here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the short break.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Brandon, we do have Larry on standby. Could you hear me?
The show with you, buddy. We're right in between segments, okay? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
All right, good deal. So, Thomas,
Okay.
you going to finish that story? Okay, we'll finish that story, and then we'll go to Larry, okay? All right, here we go, guys. Whenever John's ready. Thumbs up.
Alrighty, everybody stand by, please.
Here we go.
4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the show. Top 1% ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay with Keller Williams Realty, the #1 real estate company in the world. And we want to help you in your real estate deals, buying, selling, or investing. Of course, we would love to talk to you. Also, we are recruiting. We're hiring right now as well, looking for agents in other markets as well, expanding our footprint throughout Florida. So we would love to talk to you. PlatinumMVPteam.kw.com is the website. You can also hit us up on our consumer advocate hotline, 813-750-0550. That's our hotline. Call or text that line as well. Any introductions you'd like us to make to our 50-plus show partners and on-air expert contributors that you hear on the Consumer Quarterback Show, we'd love to connect you with them. 813-750-0550 is the Consumer Advocate Hotline. And we've got a couple of hot property listings here. 1314 Alt 19 in Holiday. This is a daycare. This is a business opportunity. It's a commercial building, so minus the daycare if you want to bring your business, or there's a daycare there if you'd like to operate it. There are some benefits because it is grandfathered in for the last 38 years. So it's a great opportunity at 1314 Alt 19 in Holiday, Florida. Also, we've got a South Tampa lot at 5510 South Elkins. This is a property that is a large lot. It's a corner lot, and you can build your dream home right here in beautiful South Tampa, Florida. Not much vacant land available out there in Tampa Bay any longer. So we've got a couple of hot property listings here in Tampa Bay, and we also have about 12 to 15 other vacant lots available right here in Tampa Bay. Check out PlatinumMVPteam.kw.com. And big shout out to the Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. The Bilmar Beach Resort on Treasure Island. There's 2 pools on site, Sloppy Joe's Beach Bar and Restaurant, and just a gorgeous beach, sandy beach right here in Tampa Bay. Treasure Island, Florida, Bilmar Beach Resort. Your local staycation and a great getaway. Make sure you let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives. And just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show, give Clyde Smith a call. He's the general manager over there. And let him know you heard about him right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, we've got Larry Harbolt on the line, but we're going to go back to Thomas King and let him finish up his pretty cool story. You went down to Tijuana, Mexico. You're healing your father. He's head to toe cancer, verified by multiple x-rays, and he's on this new regimen of a coffee enema, lots of carrot juice and fruits.
Natural. It was basically, bottom line is this. I mean, if someone told me the story, I wouldn't believe it either. But I was there and I lived it. So when we left there, it was a 2-week program. Dr. Gershon has a couple clinics over there, I guess, in Tijuana. When we came back to the States, my dad was all good. Fun. We had to do the regimen of it. When we went back to go get x-rayed and get another opinion here from the doctors that previously took his x-rays, they said, well, what did you do? We just looked at your x-rays. And he started telling them while I was there, and he said, oh, stop. We can't have you talk about that kind of natural healing stuff, because if we say anything, we could lose our doctor's license and blah, blah, blah. And they said, so we're going to have to just diagnose you as we misdiagnosed you. You must have not had cancer then, because there's no cancer in you right now.
Oh, geez.
And we were like, well, here's the old x-rays. And they're like, yeah, they didn't even want to listen to it here because they couldn't talk about it. Yeah. So why can't we do that here in America? It's pretty crazy that we can't heal each other. Now, I don't expect anyone to believe it. You can go on YouTube or whatever and look up Dr. Gershon and all that stuff. I just want to say a good story today because America's in a lot of pain right now. We need need to have some good positive vibes out there. So, and God bless America and my father for being in the Army and doing what he did, protecting everyone here in this country.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Shout out to our veterans, all of our first responders, all those. Great story, Thomas, and it reminds me of the quote, let thy food be thy medicine. So he healed himself with this natural protocol.
Absolutely. I would have never believed it unless I saw it.
Yeah, that's super cool. All right, more from Thomas King. He's the owner of Florida Firearms Academy, coming up in our lightning round, as well as more tips to come from him about what to be aware of, consumer advocate tips, things to look out there for, things to avoid, like those spotters when you're parking your vehicle and they're spotting who you are. They're taking pictures of your registration. They're looking at your garage door opener as well. So more from Thomas coming up. We got Larry Harbolt joining us now. Larry is a podcaster. He's an author, and he's a real estate investor. Welcome to the show, Larry.
Hey, thank you very much for having me on.
Hey, my pleasure, my friend. What are you seeing out there in the real estate market?
Well, I want to start out by saying I'm at a real estate investor conference right now, so if you hear any background noise, I apologize. But I'm with a group of investors, and we're talking about opportunity. We're talking about different things in the marketplace that are great opportunities, no matter what's happening in the marketplace. So it's a really positive thing, and I believe things are great, and I think things are going to continue to be great, regardless of what happens here in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always a market, and then there's always opportunity, because you're always going to have death, you're always going to have divorce, you're always going to have bankruptcies. Now you're going to have some trends of ups and downs, but you're always going to have that. So with those unfortunate events for some come significant opportunities and upside for others.
Correct.
And how do you look for those opportunities, Larry?
Well, there is so much real estate out there that there's no shortage of deals. It's just finding the deals that have the opportunity. Homeowners, they're a different situation. They're looking for a home to live in. They're looking for the perfect home for their family. Investors are looking for the opportunities to buy, fix, and resell property.
Yeah.
Or to rent property. So they look at things differently. So the investors that I'm here with, we see so much opportunity right now. And even if the market takes a nosedive, there's still great opportunity for investors, because, like you said, there's always going to be death. There's always going to be bankruptcy, foreclosure, situations that will allow us to buy properties below market value, fix them up, and build in a profit one way or the other. And so it's a totally different world than just for homeowners trying to buy that perfect house for their family.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're talking with Larry Harbolt here, longtime friend of the program. You've heard him on the Consumer Quarterback Show for years, and he's an author, podcaster, Real Deal podcast. Now, the big question, though, where this conversation leads, and I love these types of conversations, is, but I don't have any money, or I don't have the money for down payment, or I don't have an investor. What's your answer to that?
Well, number one, when I started back in 1979 in rural Michigan, I had no money. I started with nothing, and I didn't need money because I bought directly from the seller. And I started paying the seller. The only money I needed was a little bit to paint and carpet a place. So I didn't have to have the best credit, which I did not have at the time. I'd gone through a divorce. I had kids to feed. I had child support to pay. And I started with nothing, but I bought directly from the seller. I didn't go through a bank. I didn't look for properties on the multiple listing service. I looked for anything that looked unloved, that I had an opportunity that I could talk to the seller and put together a deal where I would pay them every month, just like I would pay on a bank loan. So you don't really need money. And I bought houses where I didn't need anything. These were properties that the seller didn't want anymore.
Yeah.
it had its life cycle with them, and they wanted more of a retirement program. You know, I look at it this way. If you've owned a house for long enough to have paid it off, and you get up towards 60 years old, most people are starting to think about retirement. Along with retirement, many people are thinking about getting their Social Security. They're thinking about getting their pension check from the job they had through the years. And so giving them another pension check every month for the house that they owned, for many people, is a good idea. And so you don't have to go get bank financing and pay them off, pay the full amount.
Yeah.
Because not everybody, if they did not live in the house, they don't want to pay all the capital gains tax all at once. So if they get all their money and they lose a bunch of it to capital gains, then that may not be the best, and then put what's left in the bank at 0.5% interest.
Yeah.
So with our way of doing it, because they're going to have that big tax hit, if we pay them by the month, they only pay the capital gains tax on the 12 payments they receive from us every year. So it diminishes that big lump sum takeaway for the capital gains. They still have to pay, and sometimes we pay them interest, sometimes we don't.
Right.
So it's going to depend on the situation you and the seller can come up with.
I like it.
If it's good for me and it's good for them, there's no reason we can't put that deal together.
That's right. It's a win-win situation. Talking about win-win situations, talk about secrets of the millionaire real estate investors. We're going to talk more with Larry Harbolt. He's an author, teacher, podcaster, and real estate investor, real life, doing deals every day. This is Larry Harbolt here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. Also, Thomas King, Florida Firearms Academy, coming up right after this short break. Plus, our feel-good story of the day. Louisiana nurses stay behind during Hurricane Laura to care for 19 babies. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
Okay, give me 10 seconds, please, before we resume. All right, Johnny, if you're ready, I'm ready. All righty, everybody stand by, please.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at ConsumerQB.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping our sellers profit more on the sale of their real estate properties by featuring them in ways that other real estate companies can't, maximizing the exposure, maximizing the profit. I'm also a certified negotiation expert and actually teach negotiation and branding to both realtor boards here in Tampa Bay as well as Keller Williams classes. But we got a hot property here in Brandon area. This is 3405 Gray Whetstone. This is a single-family home, perfect for either an owner-occupant or potentially a rental income property, passive income available through our hot real estate market right here in Tampa Bay. 3405 Gray Whetstone is a great property out in East Hillsborough County, right here in beautiful Tampa Bay, Florida. Great buying opportunity. Also, we've got a property on the beach. This is 1010 Bay Esplanade on Clearwater Beach. A great opportunity on the north side of the beach, North Beach. You're walking distance to the waters. You got beautiful ocean views from this property right here in Tampa Bay. About an $800,000 offering. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And this segment is brought to you by Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Brothers Easy Moving, whether you're planning a local or long-distance move, reach out to Brothers Easy Moving. No one can move you better. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. All right, every day we're going to tell you something positive here in our feel-good story.
Tell me something good.
Okay, so nurses at a hospital in Louisiana stayed behind and worked through Hurricane Laura to care for all babies in the neonatal intensive care unit. And the residents of Lake Charles knew the hurricane was headed for their city with a mandatory evacuation in order in place. 14 nurses, two nurse practitioners, and 3 respiratory therapists stayed behind and watched over the 19 babies through the storm. And, quote, it's important to know that the dedication of all the nurses and respiratory therapists to keep taking care of the babies when they don't even know the condition of their homes, said Dr. Bazzano. And in a small town like this, people have to pull together, and I'm proud of them. Some of the babies were born premature. Some were on respirators and ventilators. There was no air conditioning. Quote, it was scary for everyone, said Alicia Volford, vice president of Lake Charles Memorial Hospital. And when the winds got so bad, we had to move our patients into the hallways where the staff and the patients actually slept there in the hallways. And through the night, Bassano posted updates about the babies on his Facebook page, knowing it wasn't the easiest way to calm the fears of many, knowing it was the easiest way to calm the fears of many of the parents. And, quote, the babies are doing better than all of us, he wrote. And the hospital is currently in process of transferring all the babies to other hospitals throughout the state as the hurricane knocked out the water supply. So there's our feel-good story of the day. Every day we're going to tell you something positive, just like Thomas King did with his feel-good story of the day here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. What was that, Thomas?
Oh, it was a great story.
Yeah, awesome, man. People coming together, pulling together in these times of difficulty, and brings us into our lightning round. We're going to jump into our lightning round here.
I am so good at lightning rounds.
I majored in lightning rounds.
All right, here we go. Top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom. Let's go to the phones here. Larry Harbolt, author, teacher, podcaster. Give us some top tips, nuggets of advice, sir.
Well, if you're an investor and you're looking for opportunities, recently the government come up with what is known as the opportunity zones in some of the lower socioeconomic areas where the properties are dilapidated, the neighborhoods have gone down, and there's great opportunity there to buy properties, fix them up, to give the people that live there a better place to live. And there's also a place for the investor to make some money. And it's a great place to look for investors if that is what they're looking for, is a way to find properties that are affordable, that can be fixed up, make a profit, and give somebody a better home to live in.
Absolutely. Creating a win-win situation. That's what business is all about. That's what life's all about, how you can add value to someone's situation. All right, Thomas King, Florida Firearms Academy, top tips.
Well, I know that there's a lot of COVID going on. People are staying at home. People are worried. They're watching the news and seeing the destruction of America right now, and that can be very depressing. So you need to either pick up a book, turn off the TV, make sure you're doing something healthy and positive for yourself, for your natural health, and for your mind to stay active. Also, you can come out and shoot with us at Florida Firearms Academy. We do 40 different types of firearm training classes at a very affordable price with 20 different instructors that are top elite instructors. We wanted to make this affordable for our community and people that just love the Second Amendment. So you can look at FFAtampa.com to sign up for any of our classes, or you can call us at 813-221-FIRE for setting up any kind of private classes or lessons.
Yeah, and follow the Facebook page. You post some really cool stuff on Facebook and Instagram. That's at Florida Fire.
FFA, that's Florida Firearms Academy on Facebook. We give away a lot of cool stuff, guns, ammo, and all that stuff, so just follow us on Facebook.
I won one.
You did win one. You won a nice one, too.
I won a nice one.
I'm jealous about that.
Yeah, and by the way, that you donated all the proceeds. It was like $6,000 or $7,000 to HESO.
Yep, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, and now we're going to do something even 10 times bigger than that for them. So
nice.
We've got to show our support for the people that protect our community, and you know what? I understand there are bad officers out there. There's bad everything out there. And you can't condemn everybody for everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, I want to talk to you off air a little bit more about that with the movie deal that I'm doing, putting together a movie with
I'm excited
Captain
about
Will.
that for you. Yeah.
And I want to ask you a question. Remind me to ask you about that.
Sure.
But my tip today is about negotiation. So everybody, we're always negotiating. We're negotiating with a loved one, a family member, a business deal, Rent, we're negotiating. By the way, the governor passed the moratorium on rents now. So landlords are getting frustrated. Landlords are frustrated. And the tenants are kind of getting an easy pass. Maybe they should pay something. I don't know. It's a very delicate situation. But we're always negotiating something. So as you know, I'm a certified negotiation expert, and I teach negotiation and branding. We've had FBI hostage negotiators on this show, Chris Voss. So this is actually one that I have read about. It's a very popular model. So it's called the Ackerman model of negotiation. And it actually worked like a charm this last week with the property that we were negotiating. So what it is you want to think about 4 easy steps, okay, to a successful negotiation. Now, let's just use the number $100,000 for that property or that car or that Rolex watch, whatever it might be, right? So $100,000, that's my max I want to pay. I'm saying the max that I'm going to pay is $100,000. So the Ackerman model states that you want to start your negotiation at 65%. Okay, and some people say, "Oh, well, that's a low ball." Why? Okay, this is the Ackerman model. It's just out there. It's for people to use or not. Okay, this is how the Ackerman model was developed, and it's been around for a long time. So it's 4 easy steps. What you want to do is calculate decreasing increases up to your 100%. So it's 4 decreases. So you're going to go from 65 to 85 to 95, and then eventually 100%. Right? Now, between your moves and your counterparts' moves, you're going to be talking about, you're going to be using mirrors and labels and tactical empathy, and you're going to use summaries to influence your counterpart. Now, if you haven't seen the previous shows, mirrors is simply where you're mirroring back, you're repeating what that other person said. The idea there is to get them to go deeper, to get them to unturn those underlying reasons why the other party is coming from their position they're at. Open-ended questions are always great. So a label is something where you might say, well, it seems like you're in this position, or it sounds like you might be doing this, or it feels like you might be. So fill in the blank there behind it seems like. That's a label. So you're going to label that person's feelings. You're going to label that person's emotions. Especially if you had somebody that's upset, it sounds like you may be upset. Maybe we should take a break. It seems like you may be frustrated with this situation. Okay, you're not saying they are, but you're just saying it sounds like, right? See the difference? And then you want to use tactical empathy. You always want to be empathetic when you're negotiating. You never want to be upset, frustrated, come at them. What happens when 2 heads butt, right? You're not getting anywhere. So you want to be empathetic at the same time, hold that anger back if you are angry. And then you want to summarize where you're at. You want to summarize to try to influence the counterpart. And a quick tip that some people do is you might step away from the table. You might step away and say, hey, let me call my accountant. Let me call my wife. I got to relook at these numbers. I got to check my budget. I got to check my statement here, and then do some calculations on paper, whatever. It might even be fake calculations, right? And then you come back to the table with your 85 or your 95% offer, and then eventually you get to that 100% offer. And another key is to not use zeros at the end. If it's 50,000, it's 100,000. Inevitably, when you're using zeros, it looks like a movable number. It's like, oh yeah, that's a movable number. But if you come back with $99,897 or $84, right? It seems like there's something behind that number, like it came from somewhere rather than just a movable number. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to create the illusion of control by using labels, mirrors, and tactical empathy. So that's the Ackerman model of negotiation. So another quick tip from the Consumer Quarterback Show. I want to thank Thomas King, Florida Firearms Academy.
Thank you.
Awesome story today. Awesome content. Great tips. And also Larry Harbolt. Thanks so much, my friend. We appreciate you joining us on the show. Larry Harbolt, he has his Real Deal podcast. You can find him online as well as LarryHarbolt.com. And, hey, I want to thank all of our producers, our team out there, all of our radio and TV show family, our listeners out there. Thanks so much for supporting this show. We've got 50-plus show partners here that all depend on this show, and we come in and we try to serve the community and be that consumer advocate for you here. So reach out. We'd love to connect with you. And as we always end our show, we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And there's so many ways that you can do that. Donate blood, donate time, buy raffle tickets from FFA, and lots of ways that you can be a force for good in the community. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, and the Consumer Quarterback Show page out there on Facebook. We'll see you next time. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.